Welcome to A New South is Rising podcast. My name is Sherelle Bird, and I am your host, and I am bringing you the real answers to be able to combat the rumors, the myths, the misinformation, and disinformation about the rural South and Black folk that call it home. So I'm so excited about today's panel because today, during Black History Month, we're going to have a little conversation about Blackness. We got a lot of things to talk about the Black condition, why we do the things that we do today. Do we accept the things that we do as a Black community, or what things do we possibly want to throw out? What is our history? What is our narrative? And what's important to us in 2023 about the Black community? So we got some amazing panelists. But before we get started, I want to welcome you to this show, on all of our viewers that are viewing on Facebook, on Instagram. We want to hear from you. This is a little bit of a tease today for the podcast that we're starting, A New South is Rising. So if you want to shout out or if you want to give us a comment, you got a few minutes to do that, a few minutes to share it with people that you know, and just join in on the conversation online. So I'm going to ask a little bit of a teaser question that one of our panelists posed, and that is, I'm going to frame this in a in a statement. Before I do that, let me pause to give you all the rules of today. Let me start there. So this is what's called No Shade Lemonade. This is a brand created by a Black woman here in Albany, Georgia. So you can pick this up at Mike's Country Store. But what we're going to do on the panel is, if you agree with the statement that's being made, you're going to take a sip of No Shade Lemonade. And if you don't agree, or if you disagree with the statement, you're just going to put it down. And then we're going to hear from everyone that agrees. And for those who disagree, we're going to hear from them next. All right. So again, we have so many wonderful flavors. Everybody has their own flavor. And we're going to go ahead and get started with our first question of the panel, which is, health and wellness, self-care, therapy is just for white folks.
I want to drink.
If you agree, take a sip. If you don't, let's hear about it. Let's talk about it. So, is mental health, wellness, therapy just for the white folk? Who wants to start?
Let me take my sip.
You just wanted to taste it.
I was thirsty. It's good, delicious, but not. Shoot, I pop it off. You know what? It's marketed as if it is, and it's stigmatized in the Black community as if it is. And so, for all intents and purposes, we've been taught that it is, but it's not, of course, and we need it more and more as time goes on, as we deal with traumas from personal and systematic stuff that's going on. So yeah, we need mental health, physical health, and education about mental and physical health that we don't have. So
absolutely.
I think growing up in rural Georgia, I guess you can say, it's almost like it's not deemed as if you deserve that help, or you can be going through something but you just don't get it because that's for white people, or that makes you look weak or less than. But in my opinion, it's definitely not just for white people.
Absolutely.
I take pleasure in engaging in self-care regardless of what people say or think, because this is my body and I got to take care of it. So that's that.
I like you say you take pleasure in it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love to spend my money on myself. It is a beautiful thing.
Well, what's your hashtag?
Oh, God.
You got to tell the people the hashtag.
Hashtag self-care, hashtag treat yourself.
We love it.
Nice. I agree that not being taught that therapy is a good thing is something that may permeate in our community, but I honestly had therapy over 20 years ago in college. So in my family, it was not shunned. So there are differences amongst our diaspora. Every Black family doesn't look at therapy as being a stigma. I've heard go get therapy since I was a teenager, throughout conversations, through my family, extended family. So I think exposure and education weigh on the way your family looks at self-care, even with exercise and working out and nutrients and vitamins. Like, I've been on vitamins since prenatal vitamins. My mom and my aunt, were studying self-care and health back in the 60s with Dick Gregory.
Right.
So all families in the Black community haven't always been anti-healthy and anti-self-care. And I think it shows, especially like in my generation.
Right, absolutely.
And kind of to piggyback off of what Clinton was saying, like, my mother is a therapist. So No, therapy is not just for white people. But therapy has been something that's been normalized in my family. And I've been going to therapy for years, looking for a new therapist now. But
I have a great one.
but no, seriously. So no, it's not just for white people, and I believe that, you know, it is becoming more normalized in our community, especially as we're talking about it more, other people are talking about it more. So, you know, I'm happy to see that. That's my piece.
And I'll just say, I want to believe that our ancestors prayed for this years ago when they were out working in these hot fields. They prayed for the day that they can live like Miss Missy in the house and how they took care of themselves. And so I do it for them. I do it because I'm my ancestors' wildest dreams. And so we owe it to them to be whole, to be well, and to do those things like get massages and go on vacations that they only dreamed about. They didn't get to do. And so that was something that, you know, Black women, they didn't back, 30, 40 years ago, they weren't even doing that. They were like living in the house, making all the babies, raising the family. They didn't think about getting their hair done, getting their nails done, and things like that. And so we do it for our ancestors, right?
I have a hashtag I don't ever post, but in my mind, when I do certain things, I say I am my ancestors' revenge.
Ooh, revenge. Hey, there we go.
I am.
Yes.
I like that.
I upset many circles, and I don't mind. And I don't care.
Thank you. That's how I roll.
So we
And that's therapeutic.
t-shirt game.
Right?
We need that on
Let's
a
get
t-shirt.
that on
I've
a
got
t-shirt.
so many hashtags. I was actually going to start a t-shirt line, but that's another business. But
The rebellion in the t-shirts. I cannot wait. Because that's wellness too, right? Getting it out. Saying what we need
I
to
agree
say.
with that.
That's wellness. Do we keep going or y'all want to keep going? Or wait for Tiffany?
My bad. Oh, shoot, no. I said we can actually cut the live now. Shoot, tell everybody about what's
All right,
happening.
y'all. So again, this is a New South is Rising podcast. We're just kicking off this new podcast for SOWEGA Rising. This is our platform. This is when we're going to show you all the amazing people that we work with that are doing some amazing things to change our community. And so tune in. We are going to have an amazing lineup of guests coming in the next few weeks. So stay tuned to a New South is Rising podcast.